Imagine holding a winning lottery ticket. Not a few $1,000,000, but 2.5 trillion. Beneath your feet is cobalt for smartphones, uranium lighting Europe, gold and diamonds for the world. Yet tonight, your child is hungry. Outside, foreign trucks haul the dirt away. So the question is, who is bleeding this place dry?
Call him Kofi, a father, a driver, a working man like millions of others. Every morning he wakes before the sun and works non-stop all day. At night, he stands at the pharmacy counter, counting worn bills in his hands. Not lazy, not stupid, not lacking effort, just not enough. Outside, heavy trucks roll toward the port, carrying away the wealth beneath his feet. Kofi walks home with the same familiar weight, wondering how to make sure his child does not go hungry tomorrow.
Let's be honest about what is really happening. When you add up all the aid, investment, and loans flowing into Africa, then subtract the money flowing out, the continent loses tens of billions of dollars every year. Not millions, tens of billions. This is not an accident. It is a system. It has lawyers. It has accountants. The method is simple and clean. A mining corporation operates in Africa, extracting copper, gold, and resources. On paper, it sells those resources to another company it owns, registered in a place where taxes are close to zero. The paper price is absurdly low. The African company reports losses and pays no tax. The real profits appear offshore, legal and invisible. Workers still sweat, but hospitals lack medicine, and schools crumble. This is not theory. In the early 2000s, while global copper prices were soaring, many copper mines in Zambia reported losses. Zambia's president once said billions were taken, leaving the country with crumbs. When the government tried to claim a fair share, corporations threatened to leave and sue, and the law was killed. Nothing was stolen from a vault. The revenue never appeared. This is a bank heist without guns. They don't steal with violence, they steal with invoices.
Imagine you were an adult with a job and a family, but every time you receive your paycheck, you are forced to deposit part of it into someone else's account. If you want to spend it, you must ask permission. If you want to invest in your future, you must wait for approval. What would you call that? For many African countries, this is how the monetary system works. They call it stability. But this kind of stability is like having your hands tied and being praised for standing still. When a currency is tightly pegged to someone else's interests, it becomes too strong for the local economy. Local goods cannot compete, exports slowly die, factories never open. Workers produce more but sell less. Growth is suffocated inside a calm illusion. A currency that does not reflect economic reality does not protect the people, it protects the system. And when you do not control your own money, it becomes very hard to control your own future. If you do not control your currency, you rarely control your destiny.
There is a bitter paradox at the heart of global trade. Cocoa does not grow in Zurich, yet the money from chocolate flows there. African farmers grow the beans, dry them, sell them cheap. The real profit lives in roasting, processing, packaging, and branding. On paper, the rules sound fair. Raw materials enter rich markets with zero tax. But the moment you dare to process them, tariffs jump. The message is clear. Sell the dirt. Do not build factories. Do not become a brand. Look at coffee or cocoa. Raw beans enter almost freely, but finished products face barriers everywhere. Even tomatoes tell the same story. Countries with fertile land import tomato paste from Europe, where farmers are heavily subsidized. Local farmers cannot compete. Factories close. Jobs disappear. This is not failure. It is a trap designed to keep Africa as a farm, never a factory. Try to understand Africa in the simplest way possible. Try booking a flight. You are in Lagos and want to meet a partner in a neighboring country. On the map, it is close, but the system routes you through Paris, then Brussels, then back to Africa. Not because you chose wrong, but because the continent was built this way. Roads and railways were never designed to connect Africans to each other. They were built like suction tubes, from the mine, from the plantation, straight to the port. Goods leave quickly, but trade between neighbors gets stuck. The result is weak intra-African trade. Small businesses cannot scale. Factories are never built because there is no way to move products. Skilled workers exist, but markets do not. This is not incompetence. It is the result of a map drawn to extract, not to connect. A system designed to fail, and failing exactly as intended. Let's talk about debt, the kind that keeps people awake at night. Every country borrows money. That is not the problem. The problem is the price of being labeled risky. An African country borrows to build a hospital and pays 10% interest. A rich country borrows to renovate a museum and pays 1%. Same money, two sentences. That gap devours budgets for medicine, schools, and clean water. And when crisis hits, the vultures arrive. Hedge funds buy the debt for pennies, then drag entire nations into international courts demanding full payment plus interest and fees. Money meant to save lives ends up in pockets of people who have never set foot on that land. This is no longer borrowing, it is an existence fee, a legalized trap where the poor pay extra simply for where they were born. When a government earns money, not from taxing its people, but from oil and minerals, the bond between the state and its citizens begins to break. It no longer needs you educated, healthy, or heard. It only needs a foreign company to drill and transfer cash. Then foreign money floods in and pushes the local currency higher. It sounds good, but it is poison. Farming, textiles, and manufacturing slowly die because they cannot compete. Imports become cheaper than making anything at home. The entire economy stands on one leg. When resource prices fall, everything collapses with it. This is not a blessing. It is the curse of wealth that no longer needs people. This is the most painful drain of all, the drain of people. A poor country spends years training doctors, engineers, and nurses from classrooms to hospital wards. That cost is paid by taxpayers who are already struggling. But after graduation, many leave. Not out of betrayal, but for higher pay, better equipment, and the chance to actually do their job properly. The poor country pays the training bill, the rich country collects the value. Hospitals at home lose doctors, while hospitals in the West gain fully trained staff for free. They call this labor migration, but let's be honest, this is reverse aid, hope exported, and the future quietly drained away.
But this is where the story changes pace. The first light is the rise of intra-African trade, as countries begin trading with each other instead of only looking outward. The second light is technological leapfrogging, from fintech to mobile payments, skipping stages the aging world is stuck with. And the third, most powerful light is people, a young continent full of energy and ambition. When you have markets, tools, and a new generation, history starts to bend.